Welcome to the King of the Ranges Stockman's Challenge. It's an event held the first weekend of May every year in Murrurundi and celebrates traditional skills in handling horses, stock and life in the Australian bush. Murrurundi is a small town in the Upper Hunter, New South Wales, Australia. It's 5 hours northwest of Sydney by train or car. Historically, horses were essential for transport and for working stock in this area. Today, horse or equine activities are still vital and popular in the region, including a thoroughbred breeding industry, the second biggest in the world. Many locals still keep horses for work, exercise and recreation, or because they just love them. Even those who have never been on the back of a horse enjoy the King of the Ranges event. It's great spectator sport and brings many visitors to this small town each year. King of the Ranges is the opening event of the regional Scone Horse Festival, which includes weeks of parades, polo and horse racing. So this is the 2010 Murrurundi King of the Ranges Stockman's Challenge, and we've got two people here who were heavily involved in organising and competing in the event, Shane Easy and Louise Turner. Shane, what did you compete in?
I went in the open section of the challenge.
What are the events that make up the open section of the Stockman's Challenge?
There's 6 prelim events, I think. The whip crack, pack saddle, bareback, cattle handling and the horseshoeing.
And cross country.
And the cross country, yeah, that makes up the 6. They're competed in up till...
So you have to be a bit of an all-rounder to win King of the Ranges Stockman's Challenge?
Yeah, more or less. And your horse as well. It's not only the rider, you have to have a horse that's going to do a bit of everything.
And it's the same horse right through the event?
Same one, yeah. The horse is branded on Friday morning at the gear check and vet check, and that horse is used all over the weekend.
Nothing comes between a rider and their horse during the bareback obstacle, and nothing but the skill of both of them keeps it all together. The riders do not dismount unless they have to. Not for gates that need to be opened, fallen logs that must be jumped over, or a stuffed animal hanging from a tree. And with the obstacle course, obviously everyone goes through the same obstacles, but then at the end there's the freestyle section. Are there any sort of limits on what you can do in the freestyle section?
No, that's right. The course, everyone competes and runs the same course, but the freestyle is the rider's choice. It's just up to them to gain a few extra points by doing either a trick or showing the judge that how versatile their horse is one way or another.
People obviously work with their horses for quite a long time to be able to get this level of skill and trust.
Yeah, a lot of these people work on properties, probably not as much now as they did years ago, but a lot of these guys and women do work on places. They're riding every day, mustering stock and riding their properties, boundary riding and all that sort of stuff, so you do need a good safe horse.
Now this event with the pinata, this is just an obstacle. It's not based on anything you'd need to do in the bush, maybe picking fruit.
Yeah, there's not many hippopotamuses hanging around in trees in Murrurundi, but it was put there by the judges just to try and put the horses off, but I think most of them handled it fairly well. They're used to stuff like that, going under branches and trees. And one thing the King of the Ranges does pride itself on, that each year there is something different. We always try to make something a bit different or a bit harder, just so it just doesn't become the norm for everybody each year.
And the competitors in King of the Ranges, do a lot of them do other equine sports? Do people play polo or do dressage?
Just on this year's event, I suppose you could nearly name any other horse sport, and someone competing in the King of the Ranges would compete in it, from polo cross, camp drafting. Myself and Louise and Darryl Lee, like, we actually break in thoroughbreds for a living. A lot of the other people have their own properties. They use their horses for work as well as fun.
And some people in the police force. Lorraine Dutton's a policewoman in the Mounted Police.
The obstacle course changes every year, but are there similarities to the sort of obstacles you'd face working around a property or in the bush?
There is and there isn't. Like slip rail gates, you don't sort of see many of them anymore, but as far as getting off your horse and making him stay there, like, that could need to be done quite readily. Like, a lot of people riding a boundary would have to drop the reins on their horse and maybe mend a real hole in the fence, or, you know, that something need to be done on the property where the horse couldn't be tied up. It's just handy to know he's going to be there when you get back, to save yourself a long walk home. And riding in and out of the different obstacles, like going over the bridge and through the tyre, they're probably, you wouldn't find them in the bush, but you'd find things in the bush similar to that, like a little sharp gully crossing with a bit of water in it where the horse might have to jump across, or you mightn't want him to jump, you might want him to step through because it might be too dangerous to jump. So we're just trying to incorporate things into the bareback obstacle course that are not necessarily found in the bush, but the needs of the horse sort of might be needed in the bush, similar to that, you know.
They show the amount of control each rider has of that horse.
Points are given out for actually completing the obstacle, but also the judge has a few points up his sleeve that he awards for horsemanship and the neatness of the ride and how well the horse and the rider bond together.
A lot of people would never have done bareback riding. Is it a particularly difficult skill?
Oh, well, it's easier with a saddle. But
It can be
it
too,
can be.
depending on the horse as well. Some horses are easier to sit on than others. You'll see on the some horses jump the jump nice and quietly, and others jump, 5 foot in the air.
And that all comes back to how reliable your horse is and how steady and what sort of a job he does for you while he's underneath you. He can make it hard or easy.
When the hooves clipper thing, do they lose points for that?
If you've done what the judge has asked and you've completed the obstacle, like going over, say, the bridge, or even the jump, as we just seen before, hitting the jump doesn't matter as long as you end up on the other side and you're still on the horse. You'll get all your course points. He may, however, take some horsework points off you for being a little bit untidy or not riding as neat as some of the other riders.
Needing a change from the life that he'd outgrown. Didn't know what he was searching for, simply wanting more than his life had known. He woke early to discover need of what he left behind, lucky to realize in time. Now the highway's taking him back to New England, back to the mountains where he belongs. Yes, the highway is taking him back to New England, back where he won't be alone, back to his New England home. Turning his back on a farmer's life, thought it would be nice in the tropics come the spring, then across the great divide and through the Isery thunder ride, trying his hand at anything. south, of course. Maybe he lost more than he gained. Now the highway's taking him back to New England, back to the mountains where he belongs. Yes, the highway's taking him back to New England, back where he won't be alone, back to his New England home. Woke early to discover, needed what he left behind. Lucky to realize in time. Now the highway's taking him back to New England, back to the mountains where he belongs. Yes, the highway's taking him back to New England, back where he won't be alone, back to his New England.
The last section of the bareback obstacle, the freestyle, competitors display the strong bond they have with their horses.
New England home.
There is one thing that should get a rider off their horse, and that's to go down on bended knee.
Wendy Conley, will you marry me?
Damper is a bit like bread, made to be cooked on a campfire. It's a traditional Australian bush meal. Out in the bush you may not be able to find a farrier, a professional horseshoer, when you need one, so horseshoeing is a good skill to have.
Here we have the horseshoeing event. Everyone goes through in the collar group. The yellow group are here now. Some people have shot a lot of horses in their lifetime. Some people are doing it for the first or second time just as part of this event. Like the other preliminary events, the judge has the final say. He has a look at the job, how you've prepared the hoof, how you've nailed the shoe on, and the finished job at the end of it, and he'll give you points out of 100. Usually everyone gets their two shoes on. There's a front and a hind shoe have to be put on in 30 minutes. Now half an hour's plenty enough time to shoe a horse if you've shod one before, but a lot of these people haven't shod and some of them struggle to get the last shoe on.
For a professional farrier, how long would it take them?
Oh, most farriers can shoe 4 feet in 3/4 an hour. Pretty easy. It's not just a matter of nailing the foot on, you do need some points at the end of it, so you've got to try and do a neat job, a good serviceable job where you can just get on your horse and take him to work and the horseshoe's not going to fall off.
Shoeing does not hurt the horse, but if the horse kicks, it's likely to hurt the horseshoer. Now, this wouldn't be a traditional bush activity, would it?
Alright, no, you wouldn't call it traditional, it's just a bit of fun for the kids. All these goats, they're just wild goats running around the ranges at Murrundi. A few blokes go out and just get them for this and then re-release them. It's a big draw card, there's more entries than what there is goats. There's hundreds of kids want to go and I think we only have 10 or a dozen goats, so...
Pack saddling is a traditional and still practical skill, where the rider prepares to be out bush with their horse for days or even weeks. In this competition, the rider has only 16 minutes to pack the horse, ride it through an obstacle course, and unpack and unsaddle the horse.
Here we have Danny Fitzgerald, and the same as before, there's two judges in this, Paul and Annette Roots, and they'll judge him. He's going fairly quick there. They'll judge him on how he packs, saddles his horse, packs the pack onto the horse, goes around the obstacle course and comes back and then unpacks, just like you're going out to do a day's work and then coming back to camp overnight.
The laughter and the tears, and if I could live life over, I'd do it all again. For the passion keeps us searching for the place we've never been. It's just my way of life.
There you see a couple of competitors going around the course. They end up over on the Pages River that runs through the centre of Murrundi, the township of Murrundi. Actually ride down into the river there for a minute or so. Through the scrub there, try not to get caught up in many trees or limbs. The judge, don't know whether you'll see him there, but there's actually a judge following them guys on horseback, keeping an eye on what they do. There's the slip rail gate again. Just an obstacle that the judge hopes gets in the road or can put you a bit off tether. They do have a big pack horse tradition still going around the Snowies and in Victoria. Omeo down that way, old Ron Connolly that's competed in this event is still getting ribbons and winning places in pack horse races down that way. There's not a great deal of people up in the Hunter here that still pack horses, but down that way it seems to be still a way of life for those people.
It's just my way of life, a simple one, that's all. And as I've spent my days, I've learned to stand tall. It's just my way of life, the only way I know. Work hard and play hard and see how we go. It's just my way of life, a simple one, that's all. And as I've spent my days, I've learned to stand tall. It's just my way of life, the only way I know. Work hard and play hard.
Local legend has it that in 1869, a mother rode for 10 days to Murrurundi with her infant son in a wicker basket on one side of the saddle, and a piglet in a sack balancing him on the other. These days in the pack saddle event, they don't use babies. If you don't know what you're doing, whip cracking can be dangerous. So can horse riding. These experienced competitors do both at the same time, aiming to hit 9 targets while cantering. And they are only told minutes before whether they have to use their left or right hand or both.
Here we have the whip crack event. The competitors, you can see there are 2 different groups there going together. The competitors have to cut targets with their whip. There's 2 or 3 targets in this where they use the whip handle, like they would in the cavalry in the old days, as a sword or a sabre. Take the Turk's head off, as they call it, and then spear the 2 rings. One's actually 3 inches and I think the other one's 4. You have to try and get them on the end of your whip handle. And those 3 obstacles. The King of the Ranges is based around a legend in the Hunter, old Bung McGuinness, his name was. He actually went to war and rode horses and rodeoed all his life and worked at Glenrock Station up on the top of the Hunter where the Hunter River begins. We thought that we'd incorporate a little bit of the cavalry part of the exercise in the whip crack, just to stay with that legend of Bung.
Is there any trick to getting a horse to not be worried by the whip?
Oh, just rip
Don't hit it.
Yeah, don't try not to hit it. See number 14 there in the orange, that's Chris Cassick. He's a local competitor from Murrundi. He had a bit of bad luck this year. Actually, that horse that he's riding, she's actually carrying a bit of weight and well in foal. The actual mare he had prepared for this, when he was mustering cattle, she got staked in the bush and went lame. So he pulled this one out of the paddock about 3 days ago. And even only had 2 or 3 days riding, or not even that. She still managed to perform, you know, like an old stager.
You can see how much the horses trust their owners as the whip cracks inches away, but the animal stays calm. This is the barrel racing. They ride around barrels in the fastest time possible.
Over the weekend also we had a open barrel race that wasn't actually part of the King of the Ranges. It was more entertainment. We see the little girl from Queensland here. It was actually the Maroons versus New South Wales. I think you see 3 New South Wales girls going there and 1 Maroon. It actually, the crowd, it was pretty good. It was in the main ring, the camp draft ring, and they entertained the crowd there for an hour or so. We talk about what horses can do. Here's another sport that's very big in Australia, barrel racing, the women's barrel racing. It's on every weekend of the year that I know of.
Ready for number 3, on your mark, right boys, go!
Many of the events at the Challenge are done much as they would have been 100 years ago, but log splitting, to make fence posts or firewood, got a lot easier with the invention of the chainsaw, and a lot louder.
All professional log splitters, done this many times in their own...
The post sawing event is a fill-in event, it's crowd entertainment as well. The guy on the right, Daniel Clissold, he actually sponsors King of the Ranges. He always gives a bit of money each year and he supplies this timber and brings his men down and puts on a real good show for the crowd. I was involved with fence post splitting back in the 80s, sort of going into the 90s. It was a real big thing then, and I think it's still got a fairly big following down around Newcastle, Dungog, up into Gresford. Those sort of places where logging and the timber guys are still hard at work. Usually there's about 8 posts to be sawn and then split with the hammer and wedges. And the first one to get all these posts out on the ground is the winner. See Daniel saw cutting real well there. That's just, most of the guys have got Husqvarnas there for about 119 or 121 cc's, I just forget now. They rev at about 11 or 13,000 revs. You see it sort of eating through that timber there like butter. These posts will get used on a property somewhere. put up a fence.
All finished pretty evenly, as we can see with the chainsaws. Except the hammer and wedges.
Fencing continues to be a regular chore for people who keep any sort of animals in the country. The wood from this competition is auctioned off later in the night to raise money for the local rescue helicopter.
Here we go, first post out.
The cross-country event is just a short 2-kilometre ride holding a stock whip with about 20 obstacles like logs, ditches, tyres, gates and gullies. Oh, and for some jumps, the riders have to crack their stock whip at the same time. During the cross-country, competitors compete in teams, indicated by the different colours on their vests.
Everyone got round this year, which was good to see. There were a few minor mishaps and near misses, but I think everyone managed to have a bit of fun and have a good day.
How long does it take to do the course?
The course is about 2 kilometres long, and I think from memory about 4 minutes. It's run at about 400 metres a minute. It's not real fast, but just fast enough to test the horse's fitness and get an idea of whether the horse will go across country if need be, and jump a few natural sort of logs and dips and things on the way and go through a bit of water. It's more of a test for some of the riders just to stay on in stock saddles. It's especially hard to jump horses in stock saddles. A lot of the men are used to that, which is fine, but anyone that's done a bit of jumping in a jumping saddle finds it quite difficult to go back to riding in a stock saddle. But as you can see, they're all doing a pretty handy job of it.
We talked before about events relating to work that the horses do normally. There's plenty of times, and I've had to, and other blokes can testify to this, where you've been chasing cattle or had to get around a mob of cattle pretty quick, and the country was a bit rough, or you sort of couldn't see where you're going. A lot of times you were just hoping that the horse was watching where he was going and he'd jump or miss stuff that needed to be missed. And this cross-country event sort of relates to that.
And how soon before the event do they get to see the course?
This year the riders were given a course map on the Saturday afternoon and allowed to walk the course on foot, and then just before the event starts we go for a course walk in a group mounted, so that everyone has a chance to have a look and make sure they know where they're going. Some always continue to get lost, but most people manage to find their way around. The course went a different way than it has in previous years, so I wanted to make sure that everyone knew where they were going, and I think everyone was pretty good. There's about 20 jumps all up, including gullies like you see here, and later on you'll see the water jump and tyres and a drop, just naturally things you'd see naturally occurring generally in the bush.
Like most events in the Stockman's Challenge, the rider loses points if they fall off, or if the horse decides, I think we'll just go around that log, or just change their mind halfway through the jump. The course is changed every year, so it's like riding through unfamiliar bushland. And throughout the course you have judges?
Yes, each jump has a jump judge, and each jump, you probably can't see on this, but each jump is flagged with a red flag on the right and a white flag on the left. And the jump judge is there to make sure that each horse goes between those flags in the correct direction, firstly, and doesn't have a stop or a refusal. A stop is any horse that basically comes to a stop and takes a step back. If they pause and then jump it from a standstill, they'll be given it as that's a refusal, obviously. But any horse that has a pause and then jumps cleanly will get a clear mark. But sometimes there's a little bit of discretion involved. That's why the jump judges are there. They're also there for safety in case someone falls off. They can stop following riders running over anyone that might be on the ground or what have you.
And the vet checks the horses after the event?
That's right. The vet check, after you go through the finish flags, you're given 10 minutes to unsaddle and cool your horse down with water and walk it and get their heart rate to come back down to at least, they like it to come down to in the 60s, 60 beats a minute. A normal horse's resting heart rate will be between 25 and 35 beats a minute. And most horses, when they're going cross country, will get up to between 80 and 120, depending on the breed of horse and how fast you've been going and how fit they are.
How about the rider's heart beat?
Yeah, luckily they don't do the rider's heart rate. It wouldn't be good.
I notice sometimes the riders, because the crowd's not very close, unlike our cameras, the riders express their opinion of the obstacle and the horse's response to it. Do you lose points for that?
You don't. The riders are told prior to the event that anything that's deemed as either dangerous riding or abuse of a horse or an official, and that they'll be pulled up. But in open jumping competition, they're a little bit stricter. But no, I think if the spectators were a lot closer to the jumps, they might be a little tougher on that. But
The horses aren't necessarily trained to jump like jumping.
No, well, I mean, they're all very different levels of jumping horses at a competition like this, because some of them might jump 1 or 2 logs in a year, and other horses, for instance, like my horse, would do a few one-day events every year and, be jumped a few times a month, and it makes quite a big difference. And some horses have much more of a natural aptitude to jumping than others. As you can see, they all have a very different style about the way they jump. Some jump quite flat, some jump very high, which is difficult in a stock saddle because it tends to bounce you out of the saddle a little bit.
You are right though, a lot of these horses won't see a jump until this competition, so it is a big ask with some of them.
And some people, there's always comments on whether the course is too small or too big or too this or too that, but in the end, if everyone comes home safely, and no horses get injured and no riders get injured, there's a few hairy moments here and there which everyone's going to have, then I think it's a good day.
Who designs the course?
I do actually. I have done for the last 2 years, and previous to me there's been a couple of other people do it. It's also, these grounds are also used by the Pony Club at Murrurundi, so King of the Ranges have done a lot of the building, and we'll continue to, of course. There'll be new jumps built for next year. We built a new water jump last year and updated it a bit this year, and we'll just gradually try and add things on each year. We went the opposite way to the way we normally go this year. The course length is about right. You don't want it to be all that much longer. Otherwise, some people, that work all the time find it a little bit hard to get their horse fit enough if you have a really long cross country, and that's too hard on the horses then. So about 2 kilometres is a nice length. A few of the fences, like I said, could be a little bit bigger, but at the end of the day, if everyone's safe and happy, it's a good day for me, I reckon.
more than some. I can build a fence and chop a tree. I can ride and shoot a gun. Now my granddad was a good man, and he never told a lie. He said if you're gonna make it, you gotta reach up for the sky. And all those fellas round you, they will try to break your heart. Just keep your eyes wide open, be strong and twice as smart. And he taught me how to walk and talk, and he taught me how to ride. And he taught me how to stand up straight and hold my head up high. He said life is what you make it, nothing comes for free. He said just be the best that you can be. I don't mind if my hands get dirty and the sweat runs down my face. I've got more time for leather than I've ever had for lace. For softness is for city girls, and I've no time for that. I prefer to wear my jeans and shirt, my working boots and hat. And though life out here's a struggle, it's the price you have to pay for the sun that shines each morning and the peace you feel each day. And out here in these mountains where the wild wind's blowing free, I know no matter what they say, this is where I want to be. Where he taught me how to walk and talk, and he taught me how to ride. And he taught me how to stand up straight and hold my head up high. He said life is what you make it, nothing comes for free. He said just be the best that you can be. Yes, he taught me how to walk and talk, and he taught me how to ride. And he taught me how to stand up straight and hold my head up high. He said life is what you make it, nothing comes for free. He said just be the best that you can be. Just be the best that you can be.
I love a sunburned country, a land of sweeping plains. I read this as a youngster, so much knowledge still to gain. And when I hear Matilda, I can't help but sing along. I'm proud to be Australian, and I'll show it in this song. You can waltz with Matilda across this great wide land, or climb our highest mountain and watch the land expand. To the oceans of Pacific, or by the Tasman Sea, this land is a great land, and it's there for you and me. We're proud of Donald Bradman and Les Darcy, just a boy, and Phar brought excitement when this land had...
You wouldn't know it to look at the beautiful landscape, but the cross-country course, like all the King of the Ranges activities, is held right in the centre of Murrurundi. Plenty of competitors and visitors camp out, but you're also close to shops and pubs and hotels.
You can waltz with Matilda across this great wide land, or climb our highest mountain and watch the land expand to the oceans of Pacific or by the Tasman Sea. This land is a great land and it's there for you and me. Now when Clancy went a-droving, how I love to hear that tale. The spirit of this great land, it's so real it doesn't fail. And in the times of hardship, be it fire or flood or drought, the words of Matilda lift us up, there is no doubt. Yes, you can waltz with Matilda across this great wide land, or climb our highest mountain and watch the land expand to the oceans of Pacific or by the Tasman Sea. This land is a great land and it's there for you and me. Yes, you can waltz with Matilda across this great wide land, or climb our highest mountain and watch the land expand to the oceans of Pacific or by the Tasman Sea. This land is a great land and it's there for you and me. Be proud to be Australian, this land's for you and me. Yes, I love this land, Australia, and it's there for you and me.
When each ride is over, the vet checks the horses are still in good shape. Taking good care of the animals is central to these events. One of the traditional competitions is the shearers versus the farriers stock ride. The riders are only holding on with one hand. It's amazing how often the rider will come off, but their hat stays on.
Because we have a big crowd that stays sort of through the night, Friday night as well, and Saturday night over the weekend, we have entertainment. We have a local bullock ride here with the local farriers. I think went up against the local shearers. It's always a good rivalry between the locals.
Why is the animal bucking? Is it just because someone's on top, or?
More or less, yeah. These old steers, these old Frisian steers, you see they haven't got a kicker or anything on. They're just, a lot of these would have never been to a rodeo before. These cattle, and just take exception to someone sitting on their back.
You've done this sport before, Shane?
Yeah, I had a few bullock rides when I was young, but yeah, never took it much.
My question is why?
I guess it all goes back to years ago, like probably generations ago, when there were no TVs, there was no internet, there was not much social life, and I suppose apart from work, there wasn't much anything else to do, so that's how a lot of the radios got started, a bit of weekend fun and entertainment. And it all grew from there, I suppose. But the crowd seemed to like this. The animals don't get knocked about at all. The guys are in more peril than the bullocks are. These events that we're watching now aren't actually part of the king of the ranges. They're entertainment value only for the crowd. There's a few dollars involved for the place getters in these events.
Most of the events at King of the Ranges call on traditional skills necessary to live off the land. But buck jumping is for the bravest and foolhardy, the skilled and the silly. It's crazy fun, sometimes more for the spectators than the riders.
Here we have Jason Nairn. Louise's mother made this outfit for him. Jason's actually been a real good saddle rider in his day. He's not all that old, but he'd been to America and 70 or 80 rides in America for 70 odd qualified rides. So there was $100 up for the best fancy dress. I think Jason Nairn actually won it, and he actually got second in the saddle ride. guys aren't riding in international saddles, they're bringing their own stock saddle, riding in their own saddle that they'd go to work in, just making it a little bit harder. We had 20 riders, 18 or 20 riders put their hand up for this. We actually run out of bucking stock. We had to limit the amount of rides. So next year we'll have to look into that, probably put a few more on if we can.
Some of the riders may consider sidling or hobbling over to the bar after the event. Others will just have a cup of tea. Australians love a cuppa. After a hard day's ride, if you want it quickly, the water must be boiling when it hits the tea leaves.
Here we have the Billy Boiling, just another entertainment event. This actually has a big following too. They do this sort of not only at the King of the Ranges, but at a lot of the local shows and that around New South Wales. Object of the game is to have one block of wood and an axe and a billy full of water and one box of matches. And the first guy to get his water boiling wins, obviously. The time's taken as soon as the judge says go, and then the time will be given once your water's on the boil. I think Kevin Taylor there, I think he did knock his water over, so he got eliminated fairly early on in the piece. The bloke on the right hand side there, John Reedy, he actually won the event. It only took one match to light his fire, they reckon, because all the others went out. You see them there trying all different ways of getting the fire going. Warren Bramley there from Blandford. Reedy's got his fire going, waving away at it. John McGann, I think, there with the hat off, back there you've seen before. He's got a different technique, holding his billy up by hand. Mate's still struggling with this.
This is the ladies' bareback barrel race, and this is Lorraine Dutton. She's a policewoman. She did a pretty good job over the whole event, and still doing a good job at this. I think Lorraine had a pretty good time, and I think she won this event. There's 5 women went through to the final.
This is Linda
This
Cossa.
is Linda Cossa, yep.
Linda's husband actually won the open event. You'll see later on.
Linda Cossa, competitor number 2, Sarah Connolly, you're next.
Now the women were given an option this year. Obviously the open event, they take the top 10 competitors, and this year a lady actually got into the top 10, and she was given the option of competing in the top 10 and not going in the actual ladies' final, or she could have dropped back and went in the ladies' final. She actually chose to go with the men in the open event and take a punishment there, and that let another woman come up into the open final.
This is Kirby and Ann Curvis. Kirby and her mother Sharon both made the final. Did a pretty good job of it right until about now.
She managed to get through the finishing post before she fell off. So,
that's right. So, yeah. And Kirby's mum actually went just after she goes after Sarah and does the same thing.
Yeah, this is Sarah Connolly.
Sarah.
She resides in Blandford. She's a local. A lot of the scores are pretty close, and the ladies, as you can see them actually not flat out here, they're just making sure they get around without falling off, because a buster in this event would put you back on the tail end, so no one wanted that. Now we've gone on to the second part of the ladies' final. This is the wild horse catch. These horses actually belong to Fitzsimmons Brothers bucking stock of Branxton. You see the old creamy man not too keen on getting caught. See Kirby there. The head collar that's on the creamy mare there, the one that she caught, is a bucking head collar, and the rein, you see the rein she's carrying, it was actually folded up and tucked in behind the top of the head collar. It had a 5-inch tail on it, and that's all they had to grab. Next year we may change this event slightly, but I think our first go it actually worked out pretty well. These horses weren't all that easy to catch because they've sort of been through the ropes and they've been chased a lot after they've thrown their riders, and they're not keen on getting caught. See Lorraine on the left, and I think Sarah Connolly on the right there. Yeah. Two different strategies, one going at it at a gallop, the other just trying to outthink, but in the finish you just sort of got to go at it. Three-minute time limit on this event, so see the horse just getting away on Lorraine there. You can't quite see it marked in the sand, but there's a 10-metre circle drawn in the middle of the arena, and once you catch your horse, you've got to try and get into that circle and stop it, and then try and impress the judges after that for whatever time you got left.
Time, 1 minute, 2 to go. Time's on.
Catching a wild unbroken Brumby colt in 4 minutes takes skill and a bit of luck. And if they crash the Brumby into the fence or otherwise endanger it, they're disqualified. The competitors get 5 tries at roping the Brumby and 3 tries at getting the halter on. And you don't just catch them, you got to hold them and get them under control.
These Brumbies were brought down from Pilliga Scrub. They've never been handled. They've never had a halter on. when they arrived, we actually put them in the race and we gave them a drench, just a backline drench, and had they were vet checked when they arrived, and then we have a small holding paddock about 6 or 7 acres down on the river that they stayed in, and they were given hay. They actually look in pretty fine fettle. Creamy one on the right there looks like it could go to a yearling sale at Sydney. Probably beat most of them too.
And what happens after the event with the Brumbies?
Most of these can be sold. You can buy them. The general public can buy these, and then they're re-released. And they'll just go back up to the Pilliga where they came from. On the left we have, who's that? Dave Winter. And on the right we have Bronson Maclinshaw. Bronson's also a thoroughbred breaker. These head collars are what they use for catching wild brumbies. Some are out of rawhide leather, some are made out of baling twine. If anybody knows what a cow head collar looks like, they're just a slip knot on the nose. And as you pull the lead rein, it just tightens up so it can't fall off. Now the rules are very strict for this event. And there's 2 judges sitting up above the stands, and if the Brumby's been choked or knocked about, or the rider's deemed to be unnecessarily knocking his horse about as well, he'll actually be cautioned, and if he continues on he'll be disqualified and he'll get no points, so you can't go in there and just knock them around. You see the boys just trying to line them up there, get a run at them down the fence. It's not hard to get injured doing this. The riders, I mean, a lot of people get kicked. Sometimes the horses will get kicked. Their only means of defence is either to run or to stop and fight these little horses. So when they've been chased enough, they'll let you know. They're pretty quick. I just don't know whether we'll actually see one kicking in this footage, but they can actually gallop and kick on the run and not even slow down.
1 minute gone.
You see how good they are on their feet. See Jason just trying to get up there a bit closer. I actually had my hand broke last year at Dalgety. Got kicked in the hand by one of these little fellas. See Jason just trying to keep him galloping. It's hard. If the horse stops, it's harder to do anything with him. You've got to try and keep them moving and get up alongside them. See Jason got a straight haul to catch.
Hang on to him.
Almost getting away on him there, but managed to hang on. Same rules apply here with the women. Like once the horse is caught, you've got to try and impress the judge by, see Lockie just catching his horse there with a straight haul to catch, by getting the horses to lead, just get him to come to you and not be afraid of your horse. We have another competitor here on the grey, Christy Connor. Now this is our lady competitor. She actually took the option of not going in the ladies final and going in the open final with the men. I think she's the first ever woman that I know of to do so. She's a pretty good hand too. She's a trick rider by profession. Did a lot of work with Heath Harris. Chrissy has performed at the King of the Ranges. I think she performed last year or the year before.
All's a genuine item.
See her old grey horse there, she's hardly touching the reins. There's the little creamy one kicking at her then. Just having a horse that'll respond to you quick enough and be fit enough to stay with these little fellows just to make it easier to catch. She's trying to get him on the offside there and make it hard for her. Not quite. If you let go of the rope and it falls on the ground, it'll be called an attempt. And if that happens 3 times and you still haven't got it on, your run's over. You have to stop. You see her there trying to get him to go back the other way.
He has a catch. A bit of encouragement. He has a catch. Now she's got to hang on and bring it under control.
Pretty strong too. Managing to hold on there. That's no mean feat doing that there. Looks easy because the horse put in the wrong. There's a good rope burn. That'll be smarting after this though. She won't be feeling it now.
2 minutes is up.
When this runs over, I bet she'll shake her hand. There'll be a good rope burn there. There's a fair bit of weight on the end of that, onto that rope. I suppose it'd be close to, well, you'd be getting around the 400 kilo mark, 425 kilos, maybe a bit heavier. It's a fair bit to hang on to at a gallop. As I mentioned before, you just keep an eye on that old grey horse. He's just twiddling his ears there, thinking, waiting for a command. And when he's not given any, he'll just sit in that position there till she asks him to do something else. You've got to be fairly fit too. The 4 minutes the open is. And if you get a catch early enough and you've got to gallop around there for 4 minutes,
3 minutes.
it'll take its toll. Christie's not carrying much extra weight though, she's pretty fit. Her father also competed in the King of the Ranges. So we talked about families and groups and who does it and that. Like, a lot of these sports are family affairs. Ooh, you'd feel it hurting again.
Good girl. Keep riding, just stay in there. Keep riding. Right up. Right up.
See that old grey horse is still not even puffing. He must have a few miles under his belt. Quite pleased to canter around there and try and get a bit of a handle on that horse for her to make the job easier for her.
Time's up.
Yeah, the time's up. You haven't looked at that hand.
Yeah,
very good job, well done.
They're going very well. That's Christy Connor. She's elected to go into the big time.
During the stock saddle buck jump, they're trying to stay on for at least 8 seconds, and they can only hold on with one hand. It's not just about the time.
Righto, there we see the footage of Lockie Cosser on his buck jumper in the arete, and there he goes. I think he rode time. Well, he did ride time, I know he did, because he won the event. As well as try and ride the horse, you must try and crack your stock whip. Now here we have the lady competitor on her buck jumper. Dad there just giving a few orders. Number 43, that's her father there. Wishing he could be there instead of her. Telling her what to do. Leaves it just a bit unlucky. A big strong horse this. Hits the ground and she's as happy as punch. I think over the weekend, if you had to average it out, she's probably one of the better performers, even though she didn't win the event. Here's last year's winner, Trevor Nash. You find all these blokes in agreement. Just because you done it one year doesn't mean you can do it the next. This is me. Lucky I didn't get a real savage fella.
He's got a bowler. He's there he is. Come on, boy. 2-1. So easy.
I just put my 2 bobs worth in there for Kent Saddlery too. I've had that saddle for less than 6 months and it's one of the better saddles I've ridden in for riding a buck jumper or going to work in.
So Shane, when you're on the horse, does it feel like a long time or a short time?
It feels like a long time. Feels like 8 minutes for me. Here's Bronson Maclinshaw, I think he runs second. Dad always said to me, a good young guy will always beat a good old guy. A bit of youth on his side. See him having a bit of fun there at the end of it. It's not even a day's work for him. Trying to get the whip back. Here we have Dave Winter again. Dave's crupper actually got flicked off. The crupper's the part that hooks on the back of the saddle and hooks under the horse's tail to stop that saddle doing exactly what it just done there, ending up on his neck.
Here we go. Dave's about to come open. Shoot up to the big Campbell. And he's got a beauty up here. Ben Campbell. Oh. Ben Campbell is just laying back here saying, the 6'6" gentleman. Here he comes. Ryan Pendergast out of shoot number 1. Wow. Unbelievable.
And Jason there, should never fall off, actually gets a buster. Gone. Would have nearly bet money on him, never been thrown, but there you go. He did, and this is Dave Winter's rewide. Just come, oh, blew an eye in there and come unstuck.
And I don't know whether he's made time. We'll see what the judges say.
The final event of the challenge is the presentation of awards on Sunday afternoon. What's at stake in the King of the Ranges Stockman's Challenge is not just a total of $25,000 in trophies, prizes and cash, but the reputations of some of the best stockmen and women in the country. It's an amazing and long weekend for them, their horses, families, friends and thousands of spectators. It all happens thanks to the volunteer work of many and the support of sponsors. We hope you can join us one year to experience all the thrills and spills, the history and the highlights of the biggest stockman's event in New South Wales, the Murrurundi King of the Ranges Stockman's Challenge.
One, Mark Gallagher on the nice Hereford steer. Here he is, Mark Gallagher. And it looks like a win to the steer. Ben Donahue out of chute number 2. Ben Donahue riding for the Farriers. Come on, Murrurundi, cheer him on, he might just do it. There's time, we'll get a word from the judges in a moment. That's Ben Donahue. We'll have a score there for the Farriers. Matt Stanley, here he comes on the big Frisian steer. The first ride for the Murrurundi shearing team. Oh, and he's got a nice big slow motion fella. Oh, look at him, eh? Well, there's another score. Can't beat rearing them on a plastic bucket. Let's see whether he can put up a super fine ride. Here he is, Nick Clydesdale. He holds his grandfather's barragan for him. Nick Clydesdale. And the shearing contractor Brian Hunt says super fine ride. Good on you, Nick. Here he comes. Out of the Durox chute, Dave Mitchell. On the nice Hereford steer. Ah, come on, boys and girls, mums and dads. Oh, well, there he is. Chute number 2, Johnny Mitchell. On the nice big Frisian steer, and he's having a little bit of play in the sand. Cheer him on, Miranda. They got him going around and around. And he's having a good look at Miranda too on top of the big Frisian steer. That's Johnny Mitchell. Here he is, Ryan Pendergast, all the way from down at Tumut. And he's got himself a little black one. Here he comes, Ryan Pendergast, the big tall boy from Tumut. Come on, Miranda, make him feel a little bit welcome. Here he is. Ryan Pendergast. Morgan Webb, here he comes. Oh, and he's got a beauty. The Black Angus steer, and he's certainly turning it on in Miranda in the sand. Here he comes out of chute number 1, riding for the Farriers. Oh, and he's got a beauty. Wow, he's gone the other way, Sam. Out of the Marty Wilson electrical chute. Cheer him on, here's the local identity. Tom Hunt, here he is. Sit up, Tom Hunt. Local identity, bred in the town here. There he is, and it looks pretty good. And he says, look out, Papa, right back to, oh, there he is. Give him a nice round of applause there, local born and bred identity. On the black steer, he's riding for the shearers. And I'll tell you what, I think he might have wet sheep. Jamie Ogilvie. Tim Cheyenne. Here he is. Wow. He's ready for the dance floor on the Sportsman's Bar. For the Farriers. And he's looking pretty good. That's Chris Clark. Ashley Clark, it is Ashley Clark. Another score coming through there now. That was Ashley Clark from the New England. Here he is, he's got the big Frisian steer. Russell Brunton, sit up Russell. Sit up Russell, come on Miranda, cheer him on. Oh, look at, well, we'll leave that one. We might go to the big screen to see. Here he comes on the red steer. And he's got himself a beauty, and he has got a good one. All down one side. Chute number 4 on the big Hereford steer. Things are looking pretty good. Oh, it's all come undone, and, well, no score for the shearers. Then we'll move up to chute number 3 to the gun shearer, Andrew Swain. Terry Ogilvie, he's the man of the moment on the big Frisian steer. And he's got the bell and all the bells and whistles and the big Frisian steer. Here he is. And he might have made time. He's just about ready to knock things off. Here he comes, Andrew Swain, the local gun shearer. Come on, Miranda, get right behind him. Andrew Swain, wow. Shoot. This is Matt Stanley, and look at the fancy dress. Wow, he's all over him, and he's made it to the Logies, I think. And look at the professional pickup man there, Dave Kelly. Oh, Ripper. Here he goes, Nick Clydesdale. Oh, wow. Tell you what, I bet you're glad you got off him, Nick. Here he comes. Cheer him on, boys and girls, mums and dads. Here he goes. Johnny Mitchell, get behind, cheer him on! Whoa! Well, I think he's done a bit of parachuting the way he came out of the aeroplane. Calls for the gate, here he is, on the Palomino. And look at the gear. Cheer him on, boys and girls! Come on, let's go and have a look at the gear. It looks like he could make, there's time! Oh, Mark Gallagher. Oh, the lovely blonde. Marty Wilson, he's got a little electric good. Oh, he's got the handbag and all. Come on, Miranda. Oh, sit up there and look at this. He's going pretty good. And there's time. Oh, he's got the furs and all. Okay, here he is. Cheer him on, Miranda. Cheer him on. Ben Donahue. Ben Donahue, only a junior. He's made time, and look at David Kelly move straight in. He says, I got you, Benny. Here he is. Oh, he's got a big one, and... Well... Is that you? Here he comes. He's got the handbag and all, and look, here he is. He's looking for oil. Cheer him on, Miranda. We can do better. Oh, this is a magnificent ride. Oh, cheer him on. Here he is. Ben Campbell. Oh, he just settles back into Miranda. And look at Dave Kelly. He moves in. Give him a nice round of applause, Miranda. But Ben Campbell, he got 8.5 for the outfit. Here we go, Ryan Pendergast from way down at Tumut. Cheer him on. Oh, and he nearly went right out of it. And there he's made it. He's made the time. And we'll come up with a score there for Ryan Pendergast, who wins at 2010. Joe Duggan now to shoot number 1, the Duroc shoot. Here he is, Joe Duggan. Sit up there, Joe. He's going all the way to Miranda. Well, he goes down and hits the new turf. Here he comes. Come on, Miranda. Cheer him on. I tell you what, he's got a good one. He's having a good look at Miranda from up on a very high. Oh, and look at that. He's pretty active too, but get out of that end. Here he is, Morgan Webb, and have a look at the outfit. Oh, he's got the whip and the style and all. What do you think, Miranda? A few of the young ladies think it's all right. Stay there, Morgan. He said, have a good look around Miranda while you're here. Look at the Kell. David Kelly. He's very good at his job. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Down on the ground, he's got him. We've got a score.